to be able to have their staff working from home,
Mm-hmm.
but work as a informal contact center to understand how the call comes in, to report on it, to have a conversational IVR at the front end so it gets routed nicely in the correct way. That conversational IVR can be routed into a CRM platform. You're looking from how do you make that world more efficient? How do you drive those efficiencies that, rather than have 20 people, you may be able to pull that back to nearer kind of 15, because kind of you're taking some of that heavy lifting and some of that mundane work away from a person and putting it into kind of the cloud and AI.
Welcome to Always on CIC, the show for contact center and IT leaders. Between helping support your contact center reps, your customers, and the tech that makes the contact center function, you're relied upon quite a lot. You can't afford for your customer experience, employee experience, or stability of the contact center to falter. If you're ready to find the next strategy to keep your customer and employee experience always on, let's get into this episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Always on CIC. Today we have James Arnold-Roberts. James is the CEO of Voiceflex. He has 20 plus years of hands-on experience leading business in the communications industry. James is joining us today to talk about how he's seen the industry change over the years, taking Voiceflex from a Telecom to a TechCo, Microsoft Teams contact centers, and AI. So let's jump into the conversation. James, welcome to the show.
Josh, thank you for having me. Looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really happy when you agreed to come on. And I think it's going to be a fun and exciting conversation. But I know you have a ton of experience in this industry. You know, you've been part of the telecom industry for 2 decades. Like I mentioned, obviously there's been a ton of changes to technology over the past 2 decades. We were just having a conversation about AI and Notebook LM and everything that you can do with it. It's pretty awesome. But I wanted to kick things off and ask, can you take us back to the beginning of your career? What first attracted you into this field, and maybe some defining moments that you could share with us?
It's been a while, so kind of coming up to nearly 30 years of being in the industry. So it's kind of seen, as you said, a huge amount of change. And I think it's getting faster and faster with that pace of change. So when I came into the industry, it was analog, and it was huge boxes on the wall. And then that moved to digital, then to IP, then to cloud. And I was like, okay, where can it go from cloud? And obviously today, AI, what we're doing with ChatGPT, OpenAI, and obviously with Deep Search coming out this week, with kind of being a major disruptor to what that's looking at. So it's been an incredibly exciting journey, to be honest. And I don't think there are many sectors in the market that have moved as quickly than the kind of comms infrastructure IT space has over the period of time. So it's kind of what attracted me to it in the first place, that it was looking at an industry that was just become deregulated over in the UK. So it was kind of around the network side. So it was looking at where had real opportunity and where had been kind of locked down, and that the space looked like it was ripe. And I was lucky. I got in with a couple of organizations that were very much, I would say, cutting edge at the time. They were looking at, when it was analog, looking to deploy digital. When it was digital, looking to deploy IP. So I think we were one of the first organizations in the UK that was delivering back then the Mitel 30 from an IP perspective. And that was kind of, wow, market's changing. And then the Cisco Call Manager, with what that allowed us to do. So kind of exciting times. And it's kind of, wow, you look and go, what's happened to Mitel? Because kind of back 10 years ago, it was Mitel and Avaya fighting for kind of the UK space. And kind of both of them have since fallen off, I think, a theoretical cliff, to be honest, with what they're doing, and not kept up with where the market was going. They kept up, and I think they drove it to that IP level, but then were unable to work out how do you take it to cloud. I think that was a major a major issue. I mean, it was, and for me, it was, yeah, what was some defining moments? I mean, it was getting my first iPhone and seeing kind of what the art of the possible was in a smart device and what that could do. It was like, wow, going from kind of a Nokia 3300 brick that was great, and you were like, wow, at the time, this is amazing, to an iPhone. It was like, this is kind of incredible. So that was kind of defining from, I think, a technology perspective. For me personally, it was very much, I was able to win one of the largest Cisco contact center deals in the UK at the time. That was back in early thousands, and it just showed me the what was possible. That for if you took a technology and how then you could overlay that with customers' problems. Because when we were having the initial conversation with the client, yeah, Cisco wasn't really a play. They didn't really want to go to IP. They wanted to stay digital. But when we talked through the benefits that it could bring them, they started to kind of come round, and we were able to deliver that. And then the CX, and even back then, kind of omni-channel, multi-channel delivery into a contact center. So it was a real learning experience of how to position technology with how that fixes and resolves business problems, which was great. And then going forward, it was looking at if I wanted to start doing something myself. I didn't want to be in the position where at the start of every month the clock started at zero from a revenue perspective. So it was very much looking at, yeah, what could we do? What could we build that gave us recurring revenue? That we knew we were building, we were pushing a snowball. It was getting bigger and bigger, and how could we do that? And then that led me into selling network, and at the time it was, yeah, ISDN 30, ISDN 2, analog lines, lease lines, MPLS, and then obviously evolved as I stepped into Voiceflex into SIP and IP. So it's that recurring revenue's always been absolutely king with regards to what we do. And then on top of that, taking the technology and business problems, how do we use technology to fix business issues? And then delivering from a network perspective, and kind of that is where we've got to today, going from that kind of, and I know we're going to touch on it later on, that kind of telco, which is the standard old school, into TechCo, and how we take and morph the different applications and services we've got to today be able to fix business problems from a wider case. And obviously there's a huge amount more technology out there than there was back then, so it gives you more scope. And one of the reasons partnering with AudioCodes was very much, we felt from a strategic perspective, you guys fitted in and were able to give us the underlying foundations to deliver or fix some of these business problems.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean, just by that answer, it shows how much you know about this space and your experience there. Incredible. And you talked a little bit about, going from telco to TechCo, and I wanted to jump into that a little bit more. I know that's your focus and your shift at Voiceflex. How has that shift changed your priorities as the leader? What does it mean when it comes to the customer solutions?
Yeah, no, again, great question. I mean, I think to me, leadership has always been about driving positive change and culture in your organization. And we have, over the last 18 months, moved from a on-premise, kind of having two offices, one in London, one in Coventry, to a 100% remote. And I think if you had told me 7 years ago, 5 years ago, that I'd be running a multi-million pound organization that was growing at double digits on a compound growth year on year, that I was doing that from a remote perspective, I think I would have said you're mad.
Right? Oh man.
So yeah, I think it's now very much, again, it's about using the technology that we consume and we sell to our partner channel that allows us to have that ability to go 100% remote.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows us to also stay close as a team. So kind of utilizing Microsoft and Teams as a collaboration tool, bringing everybody together. How do we communicate as one? How do we drive positive culture? How do we allow people to have, and for me, it's key, that balance between work and life,
Yeah.
on how that then enables them to deliver the customer experience and the CX that is key to what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in our industry, you take a step back and I take my Voiceflex hat off, that we're all selling similar solutions. So how do you differentiate that? And to me, one of those key things is customer experience, customer service. So, and
Yeah.
that comes from the ground. That comes from the ground up with the people that we employ. So it's
Yeah.
that culture that they're able to go an extra mile, but they need the technology to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So
That was
it's
one of the things we talk about too. Sorry to cut you off there. It was just it brought to mind one of the things that I've heard get brought up a lot, and that is CX and contact center industry is kind of like a jungle, and you're trying to find a way through it. There's so many different players in there. They're offering a lot of the same features. If you dive a little bit deeper and look at a feature table, you're going to see a lot of the exact same features in almost every single product that's out there. But really, what sets up that difference among different vendors is the experience and the customer service that you're getting back from working with them, just like what you mentioned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's critical because it's I think I said before, it's not about selling the technology anymore. It's about selling business business solutions. Sorry, business technology that can solve process issues, business issues that allow our partners as well to bolt together or pull together a application that they're taking to their end users. So
Mm-hmm.
it's highly competitive, and
Yeah.
to make sure that we differentiate ourselves, that we need to work with strategic partners to deliver that technology.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as I said, that we feel that AudioCodes with Voca live platform and meeting insights allow us to blend those together to
Mm-hmm.
give our partner community a really nice solution that they're able to talk to their end users about, that fixes a huge amount of business process and also CX related issues
Yeah.
at a commercially agreeable point as well, because I think it's especially in the space that we work in, and as we
Mm-hmm.
work into partner rather than end user, there is a case of being able to deliver a solution that is cost effective as well as delivers benefit to our partner community.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your partner community? Who are you serving? Maybe what are some of the industries that your partners are typically in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's from a partner community. It very much sits from the UK terminology, but kind of Fred in the Shed, so one man band, up to a kind of distribution partners that are turning over close to £100 million. So
Yeah.
it sits across that kind of whole range of partners and what they're looking to do. That we have partners that work into verticals, so into legal, into health, into retail, into motor. So, but from us as a partner, what's key is we've got a range of applications that we can bring together that allow us to then talk to our partners, whether they're selling to legal, whether they're selling to retail or automotive. That
Mm-hmm.
we're not putting our partners in a box. We're giving them a toolkit to go out and fix these problems. And again, it's working with partners that allow us to do that, because it's streamlining that toolkit. So
Yeah.
we have a strategic relationship that the partners have got a similar mindset to us. So it's all about automation. It's all about how do we deliver by AI? How are we pushing kind of the technology boundaries and looking at what's coming next year and the year after to make sure kind of we're talking to our partner community about what is coming, not about. And I think there's a lot of the technology vendors out there that are still kind of using terminology that it's very much kind of rear view mirror. So they're still looking kind of what's today and yesterday rather than looking forward about, what are our partners looking to consume tomorrow? And kind of that plays into a lot of the AI space and technology and bots. Yeah, I think we're going to touch on a little bit later on in the call.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of, I wanted to jump in a little bit to Microsoft Teams. We know Microsoft Teams is now a major player when it comes to unified comms and also the contact center technology. So, how do you see Teams changing the dynamic within organizations handling customer interactions and collaboration?
Yeah, no, good question. I think hand on heart, we can all say Teams has really won the war coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's how, and to me it's very much because again we're selling to our partner community, it's how can we commercialize Teams for them? How can we make them margin? So I think a lot of them they're a little bit sure about the Teams and the other hyperscalers that are coming down into their community looking to eat their lunch. I think that's a big worry. It has been a worry for a lot of the community. So it's about working with the Microsoft ecosystem, which to me is thriving, absolutely thriving, with what the opportunity is. And again, going back to Josh, what we were talking about is looking at strategic partners within that ecosystem that can provide kind of best in class solutions for that community, that able to work with a partner like us to consume Operator Connects, Teams Direct Routing, all the standard stuff. But it's that layer on top that really is the driver in margin and value for our community. So as you said, it's that how do you handle customer interaction and collaboration? So it's looking at giving them solutions around conversational IVR. How do you deliver that in there? How about from us as a vendor to our partners? It's about how then do we kind of integrate WhatsApp for Business? As WhatsApp for Business is, if you look at Gartner, I think Analyst Mason, they're talking about WhatsApp for Business being probably the fastest growing sector in the UK over the next couple of years. So it's, how do you kind of weave in what they're doing with that? How do you then take integration into chatbots, into ChatGPT? So it's looking at that conversational IVR as kind of, to me, it's front door. And where does that front door lead to? You're walking down into the house and you've got WhatsApp, and it's making sure that we're delivering those via our portal. So it makes it easy for our partner community to consume it, because they don't want clunky, they don't want difficult, they want it to be simple, they want it to work, they want it to automate, and they want to make margin out of it. So if we can tick those boxes, and again, coming back to working with partners like AudioCodes, you allow us to do that because you've got the underlying technology stack that we can plug into from kind of a cloud base and API integration. So the market's evolving, and we feel from a Microsoft Teams perspective that there's a huge opportunity in that informal contact center space as well. It's that our customers or our partners are coming to us with their end user requirements, and a lot of them, they wouldn't class it today as a contact center, but they're looking for the functionality that a contact center has. So it's making sure we position what we've got and talk and educate our partner community about what we can do with the partners that we're working with. The market is evolving. How do you educate your partners? How do you, especially in the SME space, how do we deliver that service that a lot of them are looking for, that they want? They've seen that they have got the ability to get services that was probably only the privy of the enterprise space before the pandemic. Now they know that they can get that. So it's
Yeah.
how do we deliver that to them? But because they're a smaller market, or not a smaller market per se as size, but in delivering it to them, they don't have the smarts in house. How do you make that simple to deliver? How do you make that efficient for our partner community? So yeah, going back to has Teams won the war? Yes. Are we seeing other hyperscalers fighting back? In the UK, we are. We're seeing a renaissance, especially for Zoom. We've had 4 of our larger partners come and have conversations with us about Zoom over the last month. So again, it's working with a partner that allows us from a single platform to deliver Teams, Zoom, and WebEx.
Yeah.
So again, that scale, and obviously AudioCodes allows us to do that, which is great with the accelerator play.
Awesome. What you talked about informal contact centers a little bit, and partners bringing up those use cases. Can you speak to that a little bit? What are some of those informal use cases that you've heard come about as a request from a partner?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, a lot of them, as I said, goes back to they need to understand where their calls are coming from. So it's a lot of kind of one reporting. Yeah, what are the dynamics of the calls coming in? So I know that all the calls are being answered in the right way. We've also got partners that say, well, we've seen X do this at enterprise level when I'm going to pay a bill. How do we look at kind of deploying something like that our level, our size, kind of conversational AI? And it's partners saying, yeah, we've now got dispersed workforce. Obviously, since the pandemic, there are more and more businesses in the UK that are going 100% remote. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen in the news, there are more businesses even going 4-day weeks. So it's a changing market. So it's enabling those kind of those end customers to be able to have their staff working from home, but work as a informal contact center to understand how the call comes in, to report on it, to have a conversational IVR at the front end, so it gets rooted nicely in the correct way. That conversational IVR can be rooted into a CRM platform. You're looking from how do you make that world more efficient? How do you drive those efficiencies that, rather than have 20 people, you may be able to pull that back to near a kind of 15, because kind of you're taking some of that heavy lifting and some of that mundane work away from a person and putting it into kind of the cloud and AI.
Yeah, that's a great example. And that topic has come up a couple of times of when do I integrate AI into the IVR? What are some things that we can have the conversational IVR handle? And it's those mundane tasks. It's a tool. It's not meant to handle the very personalized and empathetic conversations that need to be handled by an agent. Those are the conversations that we should let agents handle. And those more mundane tasks of something that could be answered by an FAQ, even, or like, what are the opening hours, things of that nature. I know that's a very basic one. It can do a lot more than just the opening hours, but letting those type of questions be handled by the conversational IVR is a perfect example of where to start with AI in your IVR. I loved your example. You talked about a partner coming in and they're paying their bill, interacting with a large enterprise and their customer experience and how they handle it. That was one of the conversations that was brought up on the show recently too, of where do you go? Where should you take inspiration from when you're creating a call flow, even within your contact center? And a great place to start is call your bank. Call your bank, because they typically have usually a really good call flow, and a lot of banks, depending how large they are, will also have some type of AI integrated into their call flows too. And those are good places to start to build your own call flow and your own conversational IVR from too. It can provide some good inspiration for you.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. I think we're at the innovation day for AudioCodes tomorrow. And I think our CTO as well is doing a kind of a demo, or we've got it set up of kind of a conversational IVR that's integrated into WhatsApp and also ChatGPT. And within ChatGPT, we put a lot of information around our support and opening hours and all the rest of it. So yeah, you can have that. Someone can call in, get routed to ChatGPT, have that conversation. So again, using those examples as use cases to deliver it, but it's making sure you've got the, I suppose, multimodal from a application perspective, that you're able to not just have single silo. And I think that going forward, that it's key. It's using different models depending on what you want to get out of it, and having that flexibility to be able to do so.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of buzz around the way that you guys have integrated ChatGPT and WhatsApp into Voca, so I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, fingers crossed it works. Yeah,
yeah, always
dangerous demos. Yeah, we love them.
doing live
Yeah.
demos in any type of SaaS or technology or can make you sweat a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's the
Especially
Russian
on
roulette
stage.
today. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I have no doubt that it will go well. But I wanted to say on this trend we're talking about with AI and automation and things like that. But what trends are you noticing in, especially within the customer experience space, when it comes to conversational AI? I know you've mentioned a couple things related to that, but could you dive into it a little bit deeper?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's something that we're seeing our partners talking to us more and more about. With how do you do it? And I said it's to me, it's very much kind of taking a step back, because I'm commercial, technical up to a point, but it kind of, I look at it from more of kind of a business perspective. So it's more about how do our partners kind of commercialize AI, and how do they commercialize that integration into chatbots. And I think kind of, if we look forward, it's chatbots will be probably the thing of the past in the Christ, maybe 6, 12, 8, definitely 18 months. And I think it's kind of, if you want to call it, and I think the term today, whether that stays, is kind of AI agents.
Yeah.
So yeah, that AI agent being able to handle the call, and then being able to dip into multiple databases and multiple sources of knowledge to be able to answer the question that the customer has got. And Josh, I think you made a really relevant point earlier on. It's about getting rid of the noise, I think is probably a really good way of putting it, and then allowing improved CX. Because if a customer calling in has got an issue that the AI agent can't deal with, that you've got an agent sitting there who is human, that has got that ability to be empathetic, to understand, to be able to deliver on. So it's making sure that we're talking and educating our partners about what is possible. So when they're having those conversations with their end partners, that they know what they can deliver, what the market, and where that market is trending. So they're able to position themselves within their customer and add value to that conversation. And it goes back to that: how do we fix a customer problem, whether that is a process problem or a solution that they're going through a technology change? All of that now is going to it'll be have AI and AI agents weaved into that. So if our partners aren't talking to their end users about that, they're going to be losing. They're going to be having their lunch eaten by partners that are coming in that can talk about it. So it's having the knowledge and then working with strategic partners that have got that foresight to deliver on.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the best data sources, in your opinion, to integrate with an AI agent or the contact center?
It depends on what you're looking to do. So whether that is a CRM, so whether that's a Salesforce, a Zendesk, that obviously that you guys can integrate with, that allows a huge source of data. So you've got the CRMs, you've got the ServiceNows, and then you've got kind of the integration bots like Clay. You've got their Clay and others as that central area that you can dip into and add enrichments and changes to, obviously, and then the standard AI models, ChatGPT or OpenAI, the kind of Google Gemini, and who knows with deep search what they're going to be doing. So I think it depends on the user case, whether it's a CRM, so you're dipping in and getting the sales information or whatever information about the customer, or whether it's into a kind of an open API. So I think it very much depends on the user case with where that sits.
Yeah, great examples. So we're talking, a lot about AI here, and I have a feeling that might be a little bit of an answer to the next question. But I wanted to see your thoughts on maybe some emerging trends that you believe are going to shape the next couple years.
Absolutely. I mean, AI. I think it's it's how we embrace and leverage it. So I think AI it's talking to people. They're like, well, I'm a little bit AI fatigued by the conversations. It's taking nearly AI out of the conversation and going back to the conversation of what's the process problem, or what's the technology stack you're looking to change, and then using AI as a tool to be able to kind of resolve and fix that. What it to me allows us to do is have a huge amount more flexibility on what we're able to do. So we're able to move faster, we're able to deliver more efficiently, we're able to provide solutions that could have cost tens, hundreds of thousands at a fraction of that by using AI. So it's using the technology that AI gives us, but leveraging that for our customer base. So I think we've been in that first chapter at the moment. AI buzz, this is what it can do, and AI can do kind of everything. But it's now moving into that next chapter about looking at how do we solve problems with AI. And I think to me that's key, and is key to work with partners that have also got that mindset. So it's not just having AI for having AI's sake. It's what can that do, and how can that resolve a business problem? That if we look at the customers today and what they are changing the way that they want to interact. So it's making sure that we've got the technology that does that. The new generation, so the generation crystals or snowflakes or whatever you like to call them. Again, they don't like to pick up a phone particularly. Obviously, they want to sit behind a keyboard. They want to go through chat. So it's kind of making sure that you've got and can use AI to deliver all the services that they want, all the integrations, all the multimedia stuff. But then you've got the older generation like me who might pick up the phone and want to talk to somebody. So it's having that ability to deliver a CX solution that can be cross generational and using AI as the tool to leverage it.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. Example. I mean, we've seen that come up a little bit too. Of like, over the last couple of years, it seems like every software business has AI, but now as it's progressed, we're starting to see the question come up of, okay, I have AI and the ability to use it now, but now what? What do I do? Where do I implement it first? How do I not let it sit on the shelf? Like we have it, but what's the best use case for it? How can I get the most out of it? What problems can it even solve? It's almost like it can even be a place of ignorance of it's so new. I don't even know what questions to ask or what to do with it. So us as the vendors and partners, need to come to the end users with an idea of like, this is what it can do. This is how you do it. Let me show you. And this is how it'll be valuable to your customers as well.
Yeah, no, just completely agree. How do we solve your problems? What's your pain? What's your customer's pain? And how do we use the technology to fix that? So, I mean, from a Voiceflex perspective, that we spend probably the last 12 months looking at exactly those questions of how do we use AI internally. So we're utilizing it across the business now. So from a SDR perspective, so driving opportunity at the front end, we're using AI tools and Clay and Instantly, and of how we do that. How do we give our sales team that turbocharged ability to have multiple contacts? How do we understand what our customer base is doing? Who's moving where? What are they doing? What are the changes? The stuff that you want to be able to do, but you never have the time. It's important. You never have the time to do it. So it gives us the ability to do that and pull that information in, and then make informed decisions on that from a sales perspective, which is key. Then how do we utilize it on improving our partners' journey when they're talking to us? So utilizing Voca and the conversational IVR at the front end, making sure we're routing our partners to the right place. So if they're wanting to communicate via a different method, they can do. So we've got the ability for them to send us a WhatsApp message if that's what they want to do in the UK. So it's improving that flow and that journey, improving the reporting so we understand what that customer journey is. Are there blockages we need to improve? How do we improve that CX perspective? Then taking it kind of into our portal and how our customers actually place orders with us, and how the commercial part of that is making that journey into our portal easier, is making that once they're in the portal, if they want to understand what their estate is, they're able to type in, give me a list of all the services I've got, ask a question, what's a billing issue, all those things that AI can do very easily, but before that it was hard to do. We're on the journey to make that happen. And then in support, utilizing the machine learning and AI to help our partners. So if they've got a basic question, they're able to ask an AI bot, what do I do? How do I do it? And it provides that information. Also for our support members of staff, having a AI-based information tool that if they're in mid-conversation, that is easy for them, as I think, Josh, you said earlier, FAQs. They can go in, pull that up, and it gives that ability. So it's trying to make the journey, the interaction with Voiceflex easier, and that kind of CX better. And then also kind of the transcriptions, kind of the meeting insights service, kind of using that. How can we pick up trends quickly? How do we then fix those? From a sales perspective, how do we use that to improve our sales and improve our CX from a support perspective? What are they saying? What should they be saying? Are they listening to kind of the customer issue? So it's that taking those tools and trying to weave them into the base fundamental DNA of Voiceflex to improve how we work with our partners. So it's that it gives us the ability, hopefully, if we get it right, and all this is very much a journey, and is working kind of with AudioCodes and looking at meeting insights, looking at Voca, looking at live platform. How do we utilize those tools? And it gives us the ability to hopefully grow and scale quicker and more efficiently than we were able to before.
Yeah. Well, James, it sounds like you're in the thick of it, especially when it comes to the AI and automation things, what's going on at Voiceflex. But James, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge of what's going on in the space, some of your background and everything, what Voiceflex is up to. It was fun. It was a fun conversation. Thank you for being here.
No, Josh, really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of Always On CXCX. If you learned one thing from this episode, we'd appreciate if you'd subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. If you're using Microsoft Teams and are looking to integrate a contact center, consider trying Voca for free for 30 days. Voca is built on Microsoft Azure, meaning your customer interactions start, stay, and end with the same reliability and 5.9 uptime as Microsoft Teams. Just Google AudioCodes Voca or find the link in the show notes. Thank you again for tuning into this episode of Always on CXCX. We'll see you in the next one.